The nerd dream has finally come to the big screen, people. And I'm sorry I couldn't get this review up sooner. I would have, because, this is a new channel. I went down on my old channel, but, I got lazy. Now that I'm doing a new channel, I figure, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do movie reviews. Let's do cooking. Let's do a whole bunch of shit. But the movie I'm reviewing today, and we're gonna review three. I'm doing 3 movies today. I've already done Grown Ups 2. I'm going to be doing The Lone Ranger. And the movie I'm reviewing right now will be Pacific Rim. The first time I saw this trailer, this was my reaction. Yes. Yes. And yes. The only thing I would have looked forward to was a slightly better story, but otherwise, basically, to put it in retrospect, it's like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for adults. I'm trying to find a negative for that, because that sounds awesome. So, I saw this movie the night it premiered. I saw it at a special 10 o'clock showing, actually, at the Brighton Theater, theater that's nearby, anyway. So, I went there with a few friends of mine who definitely wanted to see this movie. We saw it. We were glad we saw it. The action in this movie is superb. It is beautiful. It's very visual. It's awesome. The Hong Kong fight, the Hong Kong battle is worth the price of admission. Although you hit a point at the movie, it's like, why couldn't they use that first? It's like, well, that's badass. Why didn't they use it at the beginning? We could have had this whole thing done and over with 10 years ago. So, the movie starts off with a whole tutorial like it showed in the not the fan trailers, but the trailers in general. They showed it in the trailers. It's like, we've always thought that alien life would come from the stars, but really it came from beneath the ocean, a portal between dimensions. So it shows a big crack in the ocean, which shows like a portal type thing, and a whole bunch of monsters come out. And the first thing we see really is this monster attacking a bridge, just like in the trailer, and it looks so cool. It's like, shit's gonna go down. And a whole bunch, and there's been a course of 4 attacks throughout a 6-year time span. And after that 6-year time span, it's like, this isn't gonna stop. No matter what we do, this isn't gonna stop. We gotta do something. Luckily, everyone in that era had been watching Power Rangers. So what do? They create the Jaeger program. Jaeger in German means hunter. The Jaeger program, which means, the Jaeger program is it's a way to combat these monsters or aliens or whatever they are. They're just monsters, alright? I'm just gonna call them what they are, what they look like. They're monsters. So, to battle these monsters, they created Jaegers, which are giant freaking robots. And the CPU is voiced by none other than the actress who played GLaDOS in the Portal games, which is freaking awesome. Because if I had to pick any other voice to do that, it's like, that's perfect! Use her! Use her! That's awesome! So, in the first scene of the first battle that we get in the movie is with this one robot. It's a Generation 3 robot called Gypsy Danger, and it has this brother team of, you see, the story behind the Jaegers, and they do explain why it needs 2 pilots in there. pretty well, actually. Yeah, it explains it pretty well why they need two pilots. Because with one pilot in a Jaeger, would basically there be too much power overload in that brain cortex that it basically kill him. You need two people in order to share that and link up so that way they can share the load and it wouldn't be as much of a burden on them. So they do all this type of stuff to protect the whole world and stuff like that. So the brothers who go into gypsy danger, and the reason why there's two pilots is like one half is one side of the brain, the other half is the other side of the brain. So they go in there, they're about to fight this monster. It's apparently a Category 4, as explained in the movie. They base it off categories. Now, these monsters are also called kaiju, which in Japanese actually means giant beast, as I am led to believe. But so they go out and fight these kaiju in order to make a living and stuff like that. So they go out there, and during the battle, the brother of one of the main character is killed while they're still linked up in the Jaeger. So he pilots it back to the mainland and stuff like that. It's in Alaska. So he pilots it back there by himself, no less, and somehow he lives through the ordeal because of little exposure. And he was one of the very first ones to one of the only two pilots of Jaegers to ever do it by themselves and live through the process. So they go to a span of like 5-6 years later, and all the kaiju are gaining in numbers and stuff like that. People are dying everywhere. So they find the main character who has been hiding out, wanted to get away from the Jaeger program and everything like that. So they find him, and then they get him back into the Jaeger program. Now, just putting it out there, the story in this movie, it's from a movie like this, I kind of expected a little bit of a stronger story, but you know, you're not gonna get a really good story out of this. It's like, okay, you have your main characters, you have this, you have that. Let's just put some monster. Alright, we have a giant monster movie. Let's put some small characters in there that no one will care about. Let's just put them into this type of thing so that way they'll be relevant in a story, and then we'll have our movie. Problem solved. Which actually led to a slight downfall in that part of the movie. Everything else is pretty much good. There are two actors that really stand out in there. It's like Ron Perlman and I forget what the actor's name is. He's the black guy from the trailer who said like, "We are canceling the apocalypse," which he actually did pretty good in there. So they go to Hong Kong to assemble a Jaeger unit because most of the Jaegers on the planet have all been yet destroyed, and so they have a group of Jaeger pilots that are specifically trained to drive those specific Jaegers, and they go out and fight all the monsters and yada yada. Gypsy Danger is all repaired from the battle damage and stuff like that. You have a Generation 1, which looks kind of cool. You have this 3-armed Japanese type robot, which also looks kind of cool. And then you have like these German dudes, or whatever they are, Scottish, I think. And they have like a Generation 4 robot that's also electrical in some way. Just leading into a story part here, actually one thing about Gypsy Danger, it's actually nuclear. It's nuclear. So that's it's like, oh, it's a nuclear powered. We can drop a bomb and it won't do anything. And just a whole bunch of crap after that. So they have these two scientist guys as well who not really feel any type of relevance to the story, but I like them. They're pretty good, actually. Those are two other actors I enjoyed during this movie. The scientist guys I liked. They a lot of people in the reviews said they were the Jar Jar Binks of the movie, both of them combined. I don't think so. I mean, I've seen episode 1 many times before, and I hate it. I hate it. I hate it for review's sake. I'll review all 6 Star Wars movies in sake of doing that, because I love the Star Wars films. The original trilogy Star Wars films. Prequel films. Episode 1 just killed the franchise. Episode 3 brought it back a little, but that's because it rounded up a almost completely perfect saga. I mean, it wasn't entirely perfect, but, you know, it was good. Anyway, yeah, it's like, so they have this little subplots here and stuff like that that don't really make any sense. You just want to get to the monster fights, and they do, and they're awesome. They are just so big and so epic, so box office awesome that you just want to jump out of your seat and go, here. The Hong Kong fight especially, because, I mean, it is huge. It's awesome. There's robots being tossed about 1,000 yards through the air. There's monsters getting the shit kicked out of them. There's a whole bunch of death, destruction, and all that sort of mayhem. I mean, it is awesome. And then it's like you get at a point there where it's like, okay, what's they have nothing left. What else do they? What now? What now? Why didn't they use that in the first place? So one button on there, it activates a type of sword on the mech or Jaeger or whatever it's called. So it activates a sword type deal, and so it's like you get to that point, and it's like, why didn't they use that in the first place? It could have solved all their problems, and we wouldn't have to deal with these creatures for 12 years. I mean, what the hell? So they kill all the monsters that tried to invade Hong Kong and stuff like that, and we get to the end of the story where they're going to try and close the portal that's between the kaiju world and the world of the humans, and the way they're going to try and do that is drop a nuke. Of course, that's the solution in any movie. You just nuke it. Yeah. Okay. Then the black guy and some other dude who was in this Generation 4 thing, who was like, I don't like the main character guy. He's in play. It was very weak, but you know, I was like, I kind of half expected the black guy to die. In monster movies like this, it's kind of like you half expect him to die. When so they set off a nuke and stuff like that. They set off a nuke to actually try and destroy one of the monsters that came out while they're going towards the portal and stuff like that. So they had nothing else to use except Gypsy Danger. So they sent Gypsy Danger through the portal while he was holding a monster piece or something like that, a piece of the kaiju, which had been sliced in half by this sword type thing. Like right down the... It was pretty cool. And the whole fight scene was like underwater and stuff like that. So, apparently you have to... The portal has to think that a kaiju is going through. If it's anything else besides a kaiju, it's not sending anything else through and back. It's just like, meh, no, you're not getting through here, no. So it grabs a piece of that, one half of that kaiju, and it holds it, and it goes through the portal. And he ejects one of the other passengers. He then primes Gypsy Danger for self-destruct, and then he shoots himself out of there with like an escape pod just before the portal closes, and you have your ending. So that was Pacific Rim. If you want big budget monster movie extravaganza, go see this movie. If you're not one to see a movie that has boring subplots and other stuff like that, and just a whole bunch of shit that doesn't make sense, this is not a movie for you. I leave you with my 2 cents about this movie. I really liked it as an action flick. For people who compare this to Transformers, fuck you. I mean, this was a good movie. It is not Transformers. It is not Michael Bay. It is Guillermo del Toro. He is a good director, and I hope I see more of his work. Just stronger writing next time. Alright, that's my 2 cents about this movie. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.